Hello, and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I would like to share with you more of the information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last QHHT Hypnosis session. I'll be reading from a transcript of the session, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm referring to my practitioner who's asking me questions I've prepared for the session. And when I refer to me, I'm speaking of myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from the 25th. Before I move forward, I want to thank you as always for watching and being part of this community. I really appreciate you, and it really just makes me happy, the sort of community we created around this information. And I know that it's been very helpful for me and for many others, and I'm just really grateful for all of this. All right, let's jump in. Lorrayne. Okay, this question is from me. During my trip back to California to visit my family, I felt as if my mother, whose essence has gone with the aliens, was more here than some of my other family members who have gone to 3D chambers. Is it possible that we can better connect to the people who have gone with the aliens for some reason over those that have gone to 3D chambers? Me. We do like to believe this. We talked about this when it came to Clea's friend in the previous session. One, we are all connected. So we are as connected to the higher self of the people on alien planets than we are to the ones in 3D chambers. Because the fact is, there is one. So in that sense, we are not more connected to one or the other. We want to bring up the previous time we discussed this when Clea was asking, can I connect to my friend, to my friend's essence, since she's on an alien planet? And can we communicate? And we said no. And we mean no as in not in a way where the friend would be aware of this communication. The higher self is one, so there's nothing to communicate. So what we answered Clea in that instance was if Clea wants to, if it feels good for her, if she wants to connect with her, she can at a higher self level. She can at a higher self level, of course. But the friend will not be aware of it because she does not want this experience. She's on an alien planet. She doesn't know what's going on over here. And so in the case of your mother, Lorrayne, it is the same situation. You can, of course, connect with her higher self, but your mother wouldn't be aware of it because it's not your mother's choice to be aware of the fact that we have a higher self. Of course, she believes it at 3D level. She's also spiritual in her own way, but she's not hearing these messages. She has not gone through the process we've gone through, where we're like, well, no, this is actually real. Look at what's happening. I am creating everything. So that's not, she wouldn't be open to you connecting with her. So what you were asking, what is happening, is the same thing that happened with Clea, where she still wanted the connection with her friend. And so she wanted to believe that they could telepathically, or whatever it is, connect. And so we said she wouldn't want to know about it, just like the people in 3D chambers. They wouldn't want to know that we're connecting with them, even though we can absolutely connect with their higher self right now. And so it's the same thing with your mother. So can you connect with her? Yes, you are connected with her. Your higher selves are connected. It is one higher self. But no, your mother is not aware of that. You will not be connected with her more than you would be connected with another one of your loved ones in 3D chambers. That said, we do want to do this because we do want to feel, one, we will see them again, because again, they're not in 3D chambers. And if they are open to seeing us, which they will be, we'll go hang out with them as much as we want. And so that's good news. But we just want to feel like they're not gone. And this is why we think about these things. Oh, am I still connecting? Clea is still very much enjoying the NPC, or friend's NPC, and pretending that she's still here. But at the end of the day, we know, no, they're gone. And again, nothing wrong with that. It is very sad for us here, and from an emotional perspective, even though we might not feel it at 3D level all the time, because we do want that separation. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to function right now. But in this case, no, they're gone. We cannot connect to the NPCs. In other words, the higher self is focused on the experience. The higher self of the NPC is focused on the experience that essence is having wherever they are. In this case, on the alien planet. They will not be focused on this NPC. They left us behind. This is a shell. And therefore, you wouldn't be connecting to your mother through the shell that's left here. That said, you did intend to have a pleasant experience with her, because you do love your mother, and that's what you got. And it's wonderful for you to have experienced that, because it reminds you, and we know that you are very unemotional in certain ways, because you trained yourself, it is your personality. At the same time, we are all emotional about what's happening here, because it is not fun that our experience with our loved ones has been interrupted. It is a source of much sadness for all of us. even people that we might have not thought we were so attached to. Clea thinks of friends that she wasn't that close to, and still she's thinking, why? There might have been acquaintances that she liked. Maybe they weren't the closest friends, and still she's saying, why did they all have to leave? And it doesn't have to be emotional the way we think of emotionality here, like, oh, it's tearing me apart. But that's because the only reason we feel this way is because we must function here. We cannot let in the full extent of what this means. Now, we will realize it when we are on New Earth. We'll feel it. But of course, at that point, we'll be able to connect in a physical way, at least with the people on alien planets. So you will see your mother again. Lorrayne, thank you. In any event, it was quite delightful. And I know I created that reality and it was perfect. Me, wonderful. We are happy for you. Lorrayne, well, I have a little question that I sort of snuck in because it just came to me. My cats, Orion and Marsek, have decided that they are now hungry constantly. And the 25th was laughing here. They're eating almost twice as much as they've been eating, and they're not putting on any weight. I'm wondering if this is them trying to ground it to 3D. Me. We're all doing little things, little quirky things, yeah, to make us feel like we're still here. And yeah, they're just hanging out just as much as you, just dealing with 3D, and that's their way. Absolutely. What else can they do? They're cats. What else are they going to do? So yeah, it's not just grounding, because again, we said there's really nothing to ground into. And of course, your cats are aware of that because your cats have no veil. So yeah, they're just doing different things also to keep you entertained. And they were laughing. And they're doing things for you as well because they do clear for you in this case. They do help you on your mission in this case. So yeah, they're basically going to the codes that they need to make certain things happen. And this is one of them. So there are multiple reasons why this is happening, but you guys are working in concert on this, and they are lovely, of course, and this is why this is happening. So to a certain degree, ground. Again, they're helping you clear, and they're bringing in the codes that they need to help you, whatever that looks like. And so that's what they're doing. They're helping you basically with your project. Lorrayne, thank you. I imagine that it is also because they create their own reality and they find it pleasurable. Me. Absolutely. And you know, when we go to New Earth, we already said we're not going to eat. So they're just enjoying their 3D version of reality right now, where they have to feed these bodies. Yeah, there's that too. Lorrayne, they're good boys. Next question. I believe this is a clear question. This avatar thing is weird because in a video game, which is the analogy we always use, the avatar has no personality or choice or even consciousness of the experience it is having. It does exactly what the player wants it to do. And the only feelings are those of the player. But in this reality / game, the avatar puts up resistance and feels everything. We know that the personality is a trait of the avatar that can impede the player as much as the physical makeup of the avatar. For example, a missing leg can impede the player from doing certain things. But it seems more of a challenge in this reality because the higher self wants to push things through, but we're not accepting it. So it's almost like the avatar has its own goals and does what it wants despite the desires of the player. Why do we choose to play the game in this way? Me. Because it is more fun. It is more interesting. Basically, Clea's question boils down to an avatar is just an image, 2 or 3-dimensional image. It's just a shell. And in this case, in the case of 3D reality, just like most of the multiverse realities, because we said there are realities where there is no avatar, they are discarnate in the way that they experience their life. But on most planets, we do have an avatar, an NPC body. So in this case, we wanted to imbue the NPC body with additional characteristics, which include personality, feelings, pain. We talked about pain before because it made it feel more real, so that we do realize it is easy for us to get lost, to have the amnesia, to get lost and pretend that this is us. Because look, I have all these feels, I have all these desires. We've already said that the essence picks the NPC based on the personality, on the physical attributes, whatever. Everything goes into the choice of the essence because the essence knows that it's going to be able to achieve its goals and its objectives through this NPC body. So the essence is still going to be in charge, but the NPC can put up some resistance, and therefore it's more fun for the essence. It's not just, oh, I'm moving left, I'm moving right, and you go straight and there is nothing there. It's all boring. It's all the same. To make this game fun for us, we have created a little bit of distance, quote unquote. Of course, distance is not real, between the higher self and the NPC, to the extent of saying, oh, it's not so straightforward. I don't just say, okay, go forward and then turn right 45 degrees. The avatar now says, oh, but I don't want to go right 45 degrees. I want to go right 42 degrees. And they were laughing because it's fun. It's all us, right? It's the higher self at the end of the day that's setting this up, saying, all right, well, let's see. Let's see what happens if I go right 42 degrees instead. But we pretend that there is, again, this distance that's not real. So it's just to make the game more fun. Now, in 3D reality, why don't avatars in video games? Of course, we use the video game analogy because it's the closest analogy really to what's going on, what the reality looks like, the true reality is like. But why don't we have avatars that feel and have desires, etc.? First of all, that would be way too close to home. They were laughing to the truth of what we deal with. But also because, I mean, technology is just not that advanced here. We talked about this before. On other planets, they do have games that they play where the NPC feels like it has feelings. You know, we've gone close, meaning that we have wanted to do things like this when we pretend, for example, that we are raising a little plant or a little toy that has feelings, that grows, etc. We are trying, we are circling around the concept, but we just don't have the technology. But yeah, this is what's happening. So we use the analogy of the video game because it is really a correct analogy of how we set this up. Of course, from a 3D perspective, we're explaining in a way that makes sense from a 3D perspective because most people, you don't have to be an expert in video games. You would understand this analogy. At the same time, we are not quite just like the avatar that we see in our video games. So that is the difference. When we use the video game analogy, we don't mean to say that it's exactly 100% the way that it works here. So CLEA'S observation is correct in that sense. Our avatar is much more complex than the avatar we have in video games. So that's why our avatar feels and puts up resistance and all of that. And the higher self is perfectly aware this is what it's going to be when it picks the avatar and works through the challenge. And it is an additional challenge in a fun way and works through the challenge to achieve its purpose. It keeps us occupied. We already said we have so much time. We have nothing but time. And therefore, this is a fun game for us, or has been in most places. Hasn't been that fun here for a while, but yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.